Many people think that detachment is loss, but I'm here to tell you that detachment leads to liberation. I'm Nikita, founder of the world's very first Dharma Diploma Programme. I take people on a journey from karma to Dharma, blending spirituality with practicality. Today we're going to dive into the topic of detachment. So when we think about detaching from our job title, from our relationships, from our circumstances, we often think that that means neglecting them, not caring about them. But actually, I'm here to tell you that's not the case. It's about stepping back and seeing them for what they are, not being so closely involved, and more importantly, not defining your identity by those labels. What do I mean by that? So let's talk about motherhood. Motherhood is a big one because this is one of the biggest karmic pulls. This is a big attachment. I recently had a client who came to me and she was struggling with this topic of detachment. Her children have flown the nest, some of them are married and settled, yet still she was feeling this great sense of responsibility towards them, wanting to be with them, check in on them, and they're all living in different places, so she was feeling a slight pull and push between her children. And when we started working together, what she found was that she was so much more than a mother. All her life she'd been defined by this title, but actually what she was realizing is, I have more potential in me. There's things that I enjoy, that I want to do. And all her life, her own preferences, if you like, had taken a back seat because she'd always put her children in front of her, which is what I think a lot of mums do. And it's only when they actually leave home, when they go to university, when they get married, that we start to realize that actually they are now independent. And the best way to empower them is to let them fly and to let them be free. But that's easier said than done, isn't it? So I'd like you to think about detachment in a very healthy way, because you holding on to attachment, which is the opposite, is actually disempowering for your children. So I'll give you an example. One of my clients, her daughter phoned her and said that she really needed her. It was coming up to quite late at night and something had happened at home and she really needed her mum to go there and then. And because we've been doing this work together, the actual default response would have been to, of course, just put her shoes on, grab her handbag, get in the car and go. But actually she decided to do things differently. She took a step back from the situation. She looked at all the facts. She realised that it was late at night, that there wasn't going to be much she could do when she got there anyway. And actually, the most important one is it wasn't going to teach her daughter anything if she just got in the car and went and saved her. She would actually be just rescuing, which is not going to help either of them. So she did a very brave thing and she said to her daughter, I'm so sorry you're in this situation, but it's a bit late now, I won't be able to come. And her daughter was taken aback and she was surprised because her mum had never said no to her. In our next session, this lady reported to me what happened and I asked her how she felt. She said at the time she felt very empowered and she felt strong as she was saying it. But afterwards, guilt kicked in and then she started second guessing herself, and then she started thinking, oh, maybe I should have gone, perhaps I should phone my daughter, maybe I should just get in the car and go, maybe my daughter won't trust me anymore. So all of these doubts and negative thoughts came in. But because we've been working together for so long, she was able to recognize that those negative thoughts were coming from her lower self. So remember, the lower self is the part of the mind that has fear-based thinking. It's always going to prepare you for the worst because it's there to protect you. It's there to keep you safe. So she kept using self-talk and affirmations, and she managed to go to sleep that night. The next morning, she was expecting her daughter to phone her and say, "Oh, I'm really cross with you, Mum, you didn't come." And she actually thanked her, and she said, "Thank you, Mum. What you did was the right thing." She said, "I called you in a panic, but actually had you come, I would have felt really guilty that you would have lost, potentially half of the night. And also I realized that I shouldn't call you for every little thing. I should actually do it by myself." So this was a beautiful example of someone who put themselves first, which her old conditioning would tell her that this was quite a selfish thing to do. But actually this new version of herself is telling her this is the right thing to do. And the ripple effect, the consequence, was that the daughter felt self-empowered, and now she feels really good that she was able to solve that without her mum's help. So this is just a small example of how detachment can actually be of benefit to other people, because when we detach, we allow them to grow, we allow them to be free. It's like a gardener goes and plants a seed. Now imagine if every day they went there and were persisting with that seed and saying, "Why are you not growing? Why are you not growing?" The seed just needs the right environment. It just needs to be nurtured. Of course, the gardener needs to go and water it and, all of that. But it can't keep pushing, because that seed is never going to grow into its fullest. It's never going to blossom if it's got too many pressures around it. So actually we think attachment is a good thing, but it can be a bad thing because it can create pressure around a person or a situation. So this is part of detaching from karma. It's about letting go and recognizing that even if I don't phone every day, even if I don't make an effort and, meet up regularly, I trust our relationship is strong enough to be able to sustain. And I know that if these people are like-minded and aligned with me, then they will stay in my life. So many people tell me that they are outgrowing their friendships, and this is a very normal thing to happen, because when we're on this journey, we are becoming a new version of ourselves. And old friends, if they're not on a similar journey, they want to hold on to what's familiar. So you might find that actually your friends are becoming a hindrance to you because they might be wanting to keep you small, keep you stuck. Many of my clients said that over Christmas, they felt like they were shrinking. They felt that they were having to be a version of themselves and pretend to laugh at old jokes or to pretend to be, in a certain way, but that wasn't them anymore. And as soon as they started being the new version or showing glimpses of the new version, they would get mocked. One particular lady, she said that she started sharing her experience about chakras and how much her Reiki sessions with me have been helping her. And her family members, instead of being supportive, they were laughing at her and saying, "Oh, so you've become a hippie now and you've gone down this path. Maybe we should put you in a cave and you can meditate." And actually, they were really making her feel very bad about herself, because it took a lot of courage for her to share what she's been doing, and she felt that she was met with judgment. And so she came to me quite upset in the new year, and she said, "What do I do? These are my family members. They're not friends that I can just distance from." And I said to her, "Why did you feel the need to share? What was going on for you when you shared?" And first of all, she said, "Oh, I just wanted them to know." But actually, when we dug deeper, we came to the realization that she was doing it for validation. She wanted them to approve of her. In a very subtle way, she wanted them to be impressed by her. So she was trying to show that she's matured and that she's grown this year and she's developed. But actually, if you look at the underlying intention, it was approving energy. And so when I highlighted this to her, she seemed quite surprised, because she was like, "I didn't know that I was trying to prove anything. I thought I was just sharing." And the thing is, if she was just sharing, she wouldn't have minded the response she got. She would have been detached from the response. So even if they came back and mocked her, she would have said, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I will be going in a cave. Maybe I am a hippie. She would have gone along with it. But because she was seeking their approval, she wasn't able to do that. She was too emotionally involved. And this is another area of detachment that I would like to speak about. It's when you're so involved in a situation that you're not able to see things as they really are. And this can cloud your judgment. That's why they always say, people shouldn't work with people that they live with or that they're married to, because it can affect their judgment, because attachment makes you more emotionally invested and involved. So that's why it's so important to be able to practice detachment. And it is a practice. It's not something that's going to come overnight. Some situations will be easier than other situations. It's not about saying, I don't care. That's suppressing, because then we're just putting on a brave face, pretending we're okay, but actually we're bottling up our emotions. That's not what we're doing. We're stepping back and saying, actually, I'm okay. This situation or this person, whatever it is, does not define me. So in that example that I just gave about my client sharing about the chakras, she was being defined by her family's reaction. So that affected her, that impacted her. Now you might be thinking, well, of course, we're all human. We're bound to have emotions. We're bound to be upset if somebody mocks us. But that's not always the case. You don't need to be. We're only upset when we feel like our identity has been mocked. Because we, the soul, can never be mocked. We are abundance, we're formless, we're beautiful, we're powerful. So when we remember that, we don't need anything else. So I have so many people in my family, for example, who laugh at me for doing Reiki. They say, oh, we don't believe in Reiki. There's no scientific evidence behind it. There's no proof. It's a placebo effect. Of course, in the beginning, I used to get upset. That's because I was still building myself up as a Reiki master. But now I've come so far on my journey, I'm not being defined by their opinions of me. So actually, when they laugh, I laugh. I'm not laughing at Reiki. I'm laughing at them. I'm laughing at their lack of willingness, their lack of openness. And I'm going along with it. I'm not being complacent. I'm just accepting that's where they are on their journey. We can't change them. As Mel Robbins says perfectly, let them. Let people have whatever opinion they want to have. Because the truth is, whatever you do, they're going to have a judgment. If you stay quiet, they're going to have an opinion. And if they, don't stay quiet, if you don't stay quiet, they're also going to have an opinion. I remember that a lady used to come very early to our yoga class. I'm also a yoga teacher. And she used to come like 25 minutes before the class started. And I would find this really bizarre because most people would just come maybe 5 or 10 minutes earlier. And when I asked her about it one day, first of all, she said, oh, I do it to avoid the traffic and things like that. But then when we dug deeper, she said, I'm doing it because I have a fear of being late. So I feel like if I come in late, people will judge me. And I said to her, do you know people are judging you for coming really early? And she couldn't believe it. She had never, ever thought about that there were people, probably, I didn't know that for a fact, but the fact that I had even thought of it, like, oh, why is she coming early? It's not a judgment, it's just an observation. So I said to her, well, there might be people judging you for coming very early. How do you feel about that? So there's always going to be judgment. And that's why I love the book, Let Them by Mel Robbins, because it's all about that. It's about just let people think whatever they want. It's about you being true to yourself, being authentic, being sincere, operating from pure intentions and staying in your higher self. That's how you stay detached. And being detached is not loss, it's liberation. I hope this has helped. If you enjoyed it, please comment below. Feel free to share with anyone who you think will benefit. Until next time, namaste.